Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. 33 meters 33F, my girlfriend wants to open up relationship, feels like she needs space. I've posted previously about my current relationship, which I think is nearing the end but would appreciate advice. My girlfriend of 5/6 years has told me she probably doesn't believe in long-term monogamous relationships, says she needs space too dependent on me, and wants to explore, but doesn't want to leave the relationship at this point. I think I know what needs to happen but would appreciate advice. Briefly, we met through mutual friends and instantly had a spark, bought and moved into an apartment within 1.5 years and had great sex. I began to have a hard stressful time at work, with family, and also struggled with commitment in the relationship and wasn't fully invested despite not wanting to leave. She felt this and it hurt her for sure. I had therapy because I identified this and in the last year have been making real efforts. What has coincided with this is she has become more and more distant. There's been moments I've been trying to bring it up and it has finally come to a head. We are on vacation together currently and we had a talk about resolutions and our relationship for this year. She essentially said that she doesn't want to end the relationship, she doesn't feel like anyone could ever understand her like I do, but she needs space to grow this year. She is going to go to therapy too. She also mentioned she maybe doesn't believe in long-term monogamy. Essentially, she wants to explore sex more with other people, or at least have the freedom to. Of course, our sex life has dissipated in recent months, which made me raise the issue. I am super grateful she has taken the brave step and communicated this to me with clarity and in such detail. She hasn't always found it easy talking about these issues. I think it's great that she wants therapy and to work on herself, as I love her and feel it will be amazing for her. However, this conversation hurt. I've put so much into this relationship and feel like it has burned too much for her too soon. She was always wanting to get married and have children, but now, not sure. In theory, I agree that having a relationship where both people have more freedom could be something I want. In fact, we always spoke about it in the beginning of our relationship. I just struggle because we ourselves aren't in a good place at the moment. We both agreed there would have to be strict rules and boundaries, such as it always being a stranger, for example. My gut feeling is telling me that this is perhaps something she wants now, play the field, maybe not long term but definitely now, and I need to leave the relationship and let her explore, as I'm sure the grass wouldn't be greener anyway, and breaking might not be bad for me either because the relationship has really taken its toll on me recently. I'd love any advice. We have an apartment, dog, so big decisions would have to be made for me to go no contact, but I think walking away is the best hope. I have to be happy either with or without her in the future. Thank you for listening. Edit, just want to add, as it is quite important. We do still have good times together and get on really well and appreciate many good things about each other. We share many common values, beliefs too, and I could see us being good life partners. Another significant thing is her grandparents' relationship. They basically raised her, was a functioning but platonic one. So I think this is at play too. Thanks. Just break up. Your relationship has run its course. My friend, it's over. Let her open the relationship as wide as needed for you to be gone forever. There's nothing more precious to be shared in common than intimacy and love. You'd be a complete fool to open the relationship, just break it up as soon as they ask to open it. Statistically, going from a monogamous relationship to one of swinging, open, or poly, ends in divorce 95% of the time. Of course there are outliers, but life isn't in the outliers. None of your wall of text matters. Once there is sex with others involved, the relationship is completely over. You should know she has likely been cheating on you too. If you want any advice aside from just break up, you should cross-post this to r/polyamory. Good idea, thank you. She was always wanting to get married and have children, but now, Not sure. Her biological clock is running down and you haven't truly committed to each other. She is ready to move on. It's not really surprising. Yeah, she did say this was a stressor for her and means she is feeling the pressure. But then again, I've expressed that this is something I want now, so I've committed my end basically. Can definitely understand my past behavior has caused issues around vulnerability for her though, and maybe it's planted too many seeds of doubt and lack of trust for her to want the same. It's over and I wouldn't want to be her security blanket. I would rather be free to do what I wanted when I wanted and not have to worry if I was hurting anyone. You might find someone else who you fall for and that wants to be monogamous, and you will only lead her on and set yourself up for failure because of your GF. And same for her. Break free and both of you go live your life and do what you want. Definitely understand. If you broke up and if she finds out the grass is not greener, would you be open to accepting her back? I would, but I would need to know what's changed, why things have changed for her. Ultimately, I think she takes the relationship for granted perhaps and is struggling to make a decision, and breaking up and time apart might fix that. The title is perhaps misleading as she said she doesn't necessarily want an open relationship to begin immediately but thinks she does at one point soon perhaps. Reading between the lines, I'd say she means now. I appreciate your advice. Story 2. 26M26F, for anyone that thinks they deserve another shot after cheating, read this story first. Hey Reddit. I wanted to post about what has happened to me over the last few years, to get this off my chest firstly, and so hopefully it can help someone avoid making the same mistakes I did. I will try to keep this as brief as possible. I started dating my ex back in high school, and we were madly in love. Dated all throughout 11th and 12th grade, and ended up going to the same college together and moving to a new town. Throughout college I noticed that things had gotten a little distant between us. She wasn't acting the same, and she was preoccupied a lot of the time. Flash forward a few weeks and I get a call from her out of the blue saying that she wanted to go out with someone else, and thought we should break up. This crushed me at first. I knew things were different but I didn't know it was to this extent. We ended up breaking up and she did her thing while I was crushed. About 2 months later she calls me and says she made a mistake choosing someone over me, and wants to try things again. We started talking again and she admitted after me doing a ton of questioning that she did indeed cheat on me multiple times, and that was the guy she ended up seeing. We talked it out and we decided that it might be worth another shot at us. Worst decision I have ever made. We ended up getting back together and I tried to put everything past me, which still haunted me sometimes, but I thought I loved her enough that I would get over it. Also a stupid mistake and I should have listened to my gut and cut her off back when this all went down. A few days ago we were at the bar and I noticed she was trotting off and talking to this guy pretty often. They were old friends and used to work together, so at first I was like, all good, they are just catching up. I noticed a lot of flirting happening, and after her leaving me multiple times to go and hang out with him and his friends, I decided to speak up. She stated that she kinda had a crush on this guy, and that she was having trouble deciding what she wanted to do. I said to her, that's fine, if you want to run around the bar and act single, you are free to do that and I will go home. And she walked away from me and went back to talking with these guys. In my head I was crushed once again, so I grabbed my stuff and left. The next morning I was worried about her as she was quite drunk at the time and wanted to make sure she was safe. My car was also at her place and I needed a ride to go get it, and I figured we could chat about what had happened and how she felt about everything. Called multiple times, no answers. Finally she calls me back and says, I will come get you and we will go get your car. As soon as I sat in the car with her I knew what was coming. She stated that she had left with the guy, and they had slept together. I just went numb, and said to her, wow, that was quick, and neither of us said anything the rest of the ride. I picked up my car and left. I was blinded by the sheer love I have for her and thought it would be reciprocated, and I was wrong. Now is the part in the story where I am done feeling bad for myself, and am going to do everything I want to make myself better going forward. I let her take too much of my time and energy and am done being a backup option. I just wish I saw it sooner. The worst part about this is for some reason part of me hates her, and part of me still loves her. I know what I need to do, and for some reason I am still thinking of her, which will get better with time, but right now it's a tough spot for me to be in. Don't let anyone treat you how I was treated. You are all much better than that. Sorry for the rant, just needed to get this off my chest. Also, water is wet. Damn dude. Story 3. I am staring down what could be the final months of my marriage throwaway account for obvious reasons. I, 30M, and my wife, 30F, have been in a wonderful relationship for the past 11 years. We are college sweethearts and have been through so much together, from living in multiple cities, to eloping and dealing with our pissed off friends and families together, to seeing each other through the death of loved ones, to getting our first and second cats together. We lived our second childhoods together, as we liked to call it, and have had the most loving relationship I could ever ask for. Well, earlier this year, that all came crashing down for me. This year, my wife came out to me as polyamorous, and told me that it was just something she was learning about herself. I felt taken aback by it and felt all sorts of insecurities. Am I not enough? Is this relationship a joke to you? Why do you need to duck other people? Of course, I didn't say any of these things to her, but instead tried to remain calm and discuss the topic with her. She told me that it wasn't something she necessarily had the energy to pursue, but that it was a side of her she was interested in exploring eventually. That gave me some relief because at least I felt like I had time to process everything with her and learn more about polyamory, and maybe challenge myself to see if I just learned more, then it would be okay. After she told me, we were talking about polyamory and what that might look like for us every now and then on date nights. I was always uncomfortable talking about it, because in truth, I just want her. I don't want to think about other partners every time I think about her. I want her, and only her. Why can't I be enough? If she is truly polyamorous and wants other people in her, doesn't that imply that I was never enough? Anyways, I entertained the idea, because well she has always been bisexual, and there was always a part of me that felt guilty for trapping her in a heterosexual relationship. See, I was her first and only, and sometimes I wonder if part of her feels like her queerness never really got to be expressed because of that. So maybe, this could work. And hey, it's not like it's realistic to expect that either of us would ever feel attraction of any kind to someone else. It's just about whether it's acted on or not. The months pass and we both learn more about polyamory and what that can look like. We like the idea of a mono/poly-hierarchical relationship, and I stupidly think yeah, our love is so strong, I'll definitely learn to want this. I'll be the primary partner and I'll always come first. I believe her when she says that, because she's only ever been 100% there for me through thick and thin. But inside, I'm worried, because if she finds another, won't she stop being there for me 100%? I tell her my fears and she comforts me, telling me that I am the love of her life and that she's not going anywhere. But then again, if she wants to see other people, isn't she going somewhere? I love her so much and want to believe her, but I find myself dying inside whenever consensual non-monogamy or polyamory is brought up. I started reading all the propaganda out there by people in polyamorous relationships. Oh, it's so ethical, monogamists don't even know how to communicate. Most one-to-one marriages fail because we're not evolved for that. We have so much love to give. I start telling myself all those sweet nothings and denying myself the right to want monogamy. And the thing is, I believe my wife when she tells me that she would prioritize me. The ducking problem is I don't want that. I don't want someone to just come by and take her away from me, ever. I don't want some ducker to call themselves her partner, because I want to be the only one. I have given her all of myself, and she's always given all of herself to me. And I'm here making myself feel selfish for not wanting to share. Duck me. Well, this all came to a head one day when she finally came to me with what I didn't want to hear. She developed feelings for someone else, and wanted to tell me about it for transparency. She's always been honest and transparent with me, but man, did this one hit me like a ducking truck. She assured me that she hasn't acted on it, that person doesn't know, and she doesn't have to take it any further than I am comfortable. But I get a panic attack and start having visions of her leaving me. We talk a lot and she spends a lot of time comforting me, and we agree to see a poly-friendly therapist who can guide us through what we're going through. We go see the therapist and she points out that we have a wonderful relationship, but our communication had broken down. My wife had agreed that we wouldn't do anything with polyamory this year, and while she hasn't acted on anything, telling me was basically asking me to move things forward. I eventually break down and confess that I don't want any of this, and that I hadn't been allowing myself to be okay with wanting the beautiful relationship we already have. It's a tough conversation that the therapist guides us through, and eventually we decide to put a formal pause to polyamory talks. My life had been suffering because of a lot of losses simultaneously. My best friend decided to stop being friends with me because she was jealous of my wife. My workplace laid off my best friends and left only me behind, and my grandmother died. I haven't been sleeping well and I've been gaining weight. I just need my life to be stable for a little bit. We all eventually agree that it's best that we take a few months to work on our communication and to help me move on from a lot of the loss I have been experiencing. She promises that we can go as slow as we need to, and that I can have more time if I want. She won't act on any feelings, and promises to treat the topic as delicately and sparsely as she can. But she also admits that being poly is something she needs, and she has so much love to give. We'll be monogamous for a few more months while I get my shit together, I guess. The thing is, she has been so wonderful to me and we have had such a beautiful life together. I don't want anyone else but her, and I want her all to myself. I can have her for a few more months, and I'm afraid that when those months pass and it's time to revisit this conversation, I'll be changed and learn to be okay with this. I'll be okay and watch the world we built together slowly fade, watch her walk away from me as I stop being the only one in her life. The thing is, I already stopped being that to her the moment she figured she was poly. My relationship with her as I know it has already ended, and I'm staring down our final months as a monogamous couple. I'm trying to hold myself together and be a better husband and partner anyway. If I'm going to be let down in the end, I might as well have the best ducking last months with her as I know it. This could all work out, or it couldn't. Either way, my marriage as I knew it is essentially over. There's something else there now in its place. I never wanted this, but it's what I get. Part of me prays that if I ever entertain this poly shit a few months from now, that she starts dating and realizes that dating ducking sucks and never mind I'm not poly, just silly. But that's just a fantasy. I have a few months left with her. Then, we knew it was done. We'll be something else. Maybe it can be better, but I get this nagging feeling that I'll have to learn to let her go already. She has so much love to give, and one day, I won't be the only one. And maybe, it'll be over. I'm broken, but I know this isn't necessarily the end. Update: thank you for all of your comments, advice, and kind words. After reading a lot of what you all had to say, I decided that at the very least, I should be honest with myself by being honest with her about what I want. I talked to her and reiterated that I only want to be with her and I don't want her to see anyone else, and that any changes to our relationship dynamic has to be discussed and enthusiastically consented to and reaffirmed regularly. I asked her to confirm with me that we are monogamous right now, and she said yes, and she said that I am her life partner and the one she wants to be with. I apologized to her for not being clear earlier about my discomfort and we decided to hit the reset button on all of this during the pause. I asked her to cut off ties with that person she has feelings for, and while she was saddened by this, she asked me to trust that she would do it and not bring that person up again. She told me she wants to choose me even if it's painful right now, and she can't promise that she won't resent me over this. but would let me know if that happens. You all are right, our relationship isn't poly in any form unless we're both in it 100%, because poly relationships require honest communication and consent, not unlike mono relationships. The point being, your relationship is what you both enthusiastically consent to, and anything less than complete and utter consent is unethical and harmful. We both had a hand in this and are working to be better, to ourselves and to each other. To be clear, I left out in my original post that she told me that she would be okay with me seeing other people and would be happy for me, but I had told her repeatedly over the last few months that I don't like the idea of seeing anyone else because I have everything I could want and more with her, so why would I look? I love her and I love our relationship, I want all the good and the bad, and growing together is what gives me the most satisfaction, and I don't care for NRE. I want old relationship energy. I want to love her more every day. I want to deal with her shit because it's her and not anyone else. I want to make joyous memories together. It pained me every time that she implied or stated that dating other people is okay, and I had to specifically tell her to stop saying I am allowed to date others outside of our therapy sessions because it felt like coercion, and she apologized and agreed that she was overly excited and inconsiderate. I told her multiple times and I hope she sticks to her word. She also admitted to me that sometimes she mourns all she could have had. I asked her if that meant she would have wanted to swap the life we had for something else. She said no, and meant that she sometimes mourns a different life like a curiosity, but I didn't quite buy that. She said that she loves the life we had together while simultaneously mourning what could have been, and that mourning is only sometimes. I told her I never mourn the past, because it's what makes me today, with all the good and the bad. I told her the life we've lived and continue to live together is the brightest light and strongest pillar in my life, and wishing for anything else feels dishonest and untrue to me. She agreed it was similar for her, but she still wonders anyway. I know that while this isn't a time limit, it still feels like one. I don't know if or when she will come to resent me or our relationship because of the need to see what's out there, or I guess more kindly, explore love in others. An irony is that her sister was dumped by her ex because he wanted to see what's out there, and we laughed at his stupidity years ago, and I feel like that is happening in slow motion for me. That being said, I feel at a minimum that I got to put my foot down, both for her and for myself. I am preparing for the worst to come while hoping for the best. I still want us to work out, because what we have is too precious to just toss away. Call me an idiot, but I am willing to try, and if her need to love others supersedes her need for me, so be it. I'll be ready either way. The threat of the end doesn't have to mean daily despair, it can mean no reason to take every day with grace and gratitude, and that's how I'll choose to move forward. Thank you, truly, everyone. I feel the love and support from all of you. Maybe in a few months I'll let you know how it all goes. Man, I hate to say this, but you should move on sooner than later. If you stay you will hurt more and more and eventually will completely hate the image of her. Her name will be like the taste of lemon to you. Her memories will become a source of PTSD. Save whatever memories you have of her. You're 30, you still got your looks, your energy, and a life ahead of you. Don't use what time you have now to be in a relationship you will hate. Also, yes, it's easy for me to just type this, you have to do the executing. But I can tell you, you won't enjoy the relationship. Personally, I like being with someone where 70% of the time I'm happy and content with them. If it goes below that or even 50-50, I can't. Your relationship has seemed to go down to 50-50, mate. If you stay you will hurt more and more and eventually will completely hate the image of her. Her name will be like the taste of lemon to you. Her memories will become a source of PTSD. Man, I felt that shit. This happens in so many marriages, even when the breakdown isn't about polyamory. Staying together when you are already broken will do that to a person. Yeah, this is exactly what happened with me and my ex of 15 years, completely different storyline, but I held on for as long as I possibly could while feeling resentment towards him but still being completely in love with him still. Then he tells me I'm not what he wants anymore and my world just came crumbling down. Now whenever I see a picture of him randomly or hear his name etc., I get an instant stomachache and start feeling really hot and then literally have diarrhea every ducking time. It's so weird because I ducking love him, I'm in love with him, but seeing him or hearing his name makes me physically ill. I ducking hate it. You're 30, you still have your looks, your energy, and a life ahead of you. Don't use what time you have now to be in a relationship you will hate. As a man in my 30s, dating in my 30s was literally the best time I've ever had. Women love men in their 30s. As a woman dating in her 30s, I can confirm that. Agreed. 20s were overrated. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night, wherever you are.